So you said bounce rate. Why is the bounce rate so high, like 80% or more?
Right.
How concerned should I be with that? And what are some ways that I can improve it? So where are you seeing a bounce rate?
In Google Analytics.
Across what dimension are you reviewing a bounce rate? Are a website wide?
Yeah. An overview.
Website wide or page speed, page individual URL wide?
Website wide.
Okay. So I think before we talk about this, we've got to understand what Google Analytics means by bounce rate.
Right.
And to do that, we got to understand how Google Analytics calculates that. So Google Analytics, when someone visits your site, they set a cookie, right? And that cookie contains information, including a time date stamp of when you arrived. And every interaction with your website, that cookie gets reset with a new timestamp. And so every web page you visit on the same site within the same session gets a new timestamp. And each timestamp sent to Google Analytics database. So if they receive a visit, hey, someone visited this page, and they don't receive a timestamp within the allotted session default time, which is 30 minutes, they call that a bounce. Okay, so it could be someone visits your page and they visit it and they read it for 29 minutes and 59 seconds, and then they leave. That's a bounce. Google Analytics actually does not know. Did they read that one page for 10 minutes? Did they 30 seconds and go back? What they do know is if you visit another page, how long the time on site was, but they're calculating that because there's another interaction then they get that information, right? So understanding that, bounce rate isn't always a bad thing. So for instance, if we have someone visit a website and we have a long blog post and they read that blog post and they say, this is great, and they call the phone number at the top of the page, that's a successful visit. But Google Analytics is going to count that as a bounce, right? Because you didn't interact with anything, right? All you did was you didn't go to another page. It doesn't know that it called that number. So it looks like a failed visit, but really it's a very good visit. Or let's say you have a video on the page and they watch the entire video and they call the number at the end of the video. That's a great visit, but it's counted as a bounce. Let's say you've got your email address on there and they click and they email you. Great, now you got a customer, but Google Analytics is still going to call that a bounce. So site-wide bounce is pretty much a useless metric. It doesn't really tell us much. But if we look on a page-by-page basis, even that is a little bit of a fuzzy metric, because theoretically a bounce could still be a very productive visitor. But because we don't know if they clicked on a link to email you or they clicked on the phone number to call, Google Analytics doesn't know that there's another interaction with the website in order to not call that visit a bounce. And so be careful about assuming bounce is bad, right? Yeah. And there's things we can do to improve the data in analytics to make sure that bounce is really someone who just visits your page and goes, oop, wrong site, and goes out. Like, that's really a bounce. I come to the page like, oh, this is totally not what I want, or this website's ugly, I don't trust this company, or oh, this is spam, and I'll go backwards. That's what we think of as a bounce, but Google Analytics can't distinguish that on someone who is a productive visitor who happens to stay on the website 29 minutes and 59 seconds, right? So that's the first thing. Second, some pages are going to always have higher bounce rates than others, right? So if you have a blog posts tend to be informational and not very salesy. And so someone might have digested the information you provided in the blog post and left. And we don't know, right? That's what a blog does, right? Gives you information. Now, ideally, someone would read that blog post and go, oh, I really want to work with this company, and then visit the Contact Us page. Now we have a second interaction, and that visit's not a bounce, right? So in some sense, if it's not a bounce, it could say that someone was a productive visitor. But I wouldn't be worried about bounce rate site-wide. And I wouldn't necessarily obsess on it on a page-by-page basis. However, we do know quality visitors tend to visit more than one page, right? If someone's going to contact your business, they're probably going to visit whatever page they land on, and then go to your About Us page. Maybe they'll visit your Contact Us page, and then they'll say, oh, wait, but I want to look at reviews, and they'll go to your review page, and then they'll look at a couple blog posts, and then they finally will contact you. That's a really good visitor. But just because someone didn't do that doesn't mean they're a bad visitor either. Yeah. So this is one of these cases where Google Analytics does have data like bounce rate, but it's probably not the biggest thing to worry about. It might suggest to you that you're not doing a good job getting someone from that blog post to another interaction, right? It might suggest the blog is less relevant to your business, right? And so maybe it suggests that you need to do a better job on the blog. For instance, I'm saying blog because blogs tend to have higher bounce rates, getting them to sign up for your email list, right? So there's some value in it, but there's not like a number to shoot for. Or in fact, I'd probably suggest most websites have an 80% bounce rate site-wide. I'd suggest that's probably pretty good.
Okay.
If you had 100% bounce rate across the site, then you have real problems.
Yeah.
Right? Because no one is going to visit any other pages on your site, unless it's a one-page website, and the only thing they can do is call your phone number. Then every one of your visitors would be a bounce.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really interesting. That it makes me wonder why Google isn't smart enough to know that like being on a page and clicking the phone number isn't enough information to say that's not a bounce.
Well, it's the way Universal Analytics is set up. They are only sent information on certain interactions, which are typically page views, unless you set up interaction as something separate.
Okay. Now,
this is something GA4 will do much better. GA4 watches people scroll down the page, and therefore that's an interaction, and therefore it's not a bounce. Google Analytics will see where people click on the web page, even if it's not a link. Call it an interaction, therefore it's less of a bounce. So bounce rate is probably going to be more productive in GA4 as far as more accurate.
Yeah.
But you could set up click event tracking on an email address or a phone number link, and then send that information as interaction to Google Analytics, and then they would know, great, that wasn't a bounce. That would improve your bounce rate.
Yeah.
But is that really going to help anything except your bounce rate? Well, it'll show you that you're getting a lot more off your pages than you realized. And
Yeah.
tracking click to call is always a good idea, especially if you're not doing phone call tracking. But yeah, sometimes people ask this because they hear a rumor that bounce rate is a SEO factor. Is that what's behind this question?
No, it's that big
Okay.
number staring at you as soon as you
Right.
look at analytics, right? It's just there, and
Yeah.
it doesn't sound like a thing that you want to be very high. It sounds like better, lower than higher,
Yeah. Yeah.
and 80% sounds high.
Yeah, it does. And there's a lot of things in Google Analytics like that, like time on site is another one that they put. That's like, here's a piece of information we kind of have, but they don't really have that they're
Yeah.
going to feature. But is it good or bad? I don't know. Like,
Yeah,
if you're the New York Times and you're selling ad space based on how many minutes someone spends on your website, that's an important metric.
Mhm.
But sometimes a low time on site might be really good because that means, hey, guess what? I got to the site, I got what I wanted, and I'm done. And that's a really good website experience. We didn't make them hunt through our website to find the information they needed.
Yeah.
They landed, they got what they needed, they did what they needed, they were a successful visitor and has very low time on site. So number of pages visited in a session, same kind of thing. Like high number of pages could mean your website's a confusing mess and no one can find what they need to find.
right.
Or it could mean your website's very interactive and people really love interacting with your website.
Right.
Google Analytics can't tell the difference. It just knows that people tend to visit, 5 or 6 pages.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, that's all really valuable information, I think. Thank you for that.
Okay. Good. Yeah, thank you for asking because it's a pretty common metric that people want to ask about because it's front and center, but it's
Yeah.
kind of I think it's there because a lot of people don't set up the goals. And so this might be a way to kind of get to a successful visitor if you don't have goal tracking. But because we all make sure we set up goals.